Hey guys, Youngblood with you. Now that we're continuing to pump through different PTU patches, and I believe we're going to be getting 2.2K tonight, I think we're starting to see signs that this thing may be moving to live. And with that, I wanted to kind of share some of the changes that are actually taking place in 2.2 so you can kind of know what to expect as you're getting in. Now, this has all been posted on the RSI site, so there's a possibility that you've already run through all of this, but I'm going to give you kind of the higher level points that I think are more important to know about. Now, coming into this, I think it's pretty clear now that the Saber is flight ready. I've already done a couple videos on that, and the GN Scout, or the Cartual, is now available in Hangar to check out. There's a lot more to it, though, and most of these changes have taken place specifically within Crusader, continuing to work towards that, persistent universe type of deal. And to start with, they've really changed like the scale and the positioning of Crusader. It feels more 3D somehow, the way you kind of transit across the system. The planets seem a little bit, smaller. They seem further apart. But then, there's other things too. Like you'll show up at Yella, and Yella looks huge, and it's got a really immense asteroid field now. There's just something about it that feels much more natural, and I think you're going to notice it the second you get in as well. Another thing is, before, in order to actually get to the ICC probe, which was one of the missions that you could do in the persistent universe, you had to end up going to a comm array to actually fix the comm array, and then that would give you a subset of a mission where you could then go to the probe, which would then give you another mission to go find some black box or some other mission. Now you're able to actually go to the ICC probe. It's available on the quantum map, and when you get there, you can take on different research missions, like going to find black boxes and stuff. It's not the chain of missions. You can kind of just do it ad hoc as you see fit. You're also going to notice that when you're playing, especially when when you wake up in Alizar, you're going to notice these first two indicators in the upper left side of the HUD. And that's going to be icons that are kind of representing different things. So, for example, the one that kind of looks like a comm array means that you're in monitored space. And what monitored space means is that you're in an area that Crusader is keeping an eye on, or Crusader Securities is keeping an eye on. And those areas are going to end up being Port Alizar, Cryastro stations, and comm arrays that are powered on. The next little icon over is going to be the Armistice Zone icon. It looks like a bullet with a line through it. Basically means you can't do any shooting. You're in a peaceful area, so don't even bother trying to pull your weapon because it's not going to work. And then one icon to the right of that, which you're not going to see when you're waking up, is going to be Criminal level, or your Wanted level. And it's going to look like a little face with 4 dashes around the edges of the circle. And how that's going to work is each time you commit some sort of criminal act, you're going to earn a different level until you get to the top level, and the whole thing's going to be red and kind of pulsating. But we'll talk about that in just a second. So with monitored space, I already mentioned that it's when Crusader's actually wanting to watch you. And anything that actually happens in monitored space is going to result negatively if you're acting in a criminal way. Now, anything that you do outside of monitored space isn't going to have a whole lot of impact on you because nobody's there to actually see it. But there is now a bounty system in place, and those are the 5 levels of criminal that I was talking about. And things that can get you 1 point would be like destroying an enemy ship. So imagine somebody's fixing a comm array, and you just blow their ship out of the water. It's kind of a crappy move, so you're going to get 1 point of wanted. Colliding with a landed ship, just ramming people or trolling people at Port Alizar, that's going to get you a point. And disabling comm arrays will get you 1 point. Now, it's worth noting that disabling those 3 things I just mentioned, they're not cumulative. So, you could go disable 30 arrays and you're only going to have 1 criminal level. But, that's going to be different if you are going out and doing things like killing a player or an occupied ship, or maybe like Crusader Securities. Those all give you 1 point each, and they're cumulative. And what you're actually watching in this video in the background is me trying to become a criminal and trying to become wanted. Now, Crusader Security is going to attack criminals of any level. And what's going to happen is real players are actually going to get an opportunity to get a global mission when there's somebody that reaches level 5 criminal. And in the video that you're watching, you're going to see that I eventually get there. Now, the reward for dying as a criminal means that each time for each level of wanted you get an extra 30 seconds of time that you need to respawn, or that you're locked in your room when you wake up. So, if you're level 1, you have to sit there for 30 seconds. If you're level 2, 60 seconds, and so on and so forth. What happens at level 5, you actually get booted from the server, which is kind of cool, in a way. And it's not like it's going to prevent you from getting back in, but yeah, that's going to be there. And then some other kind of pseudo rewards for becoming a criminal. After level 1 criminal, you end up getting a different helmet and you get the outlaw armor. After level 5 or 4, I don't remember which one, there's 2 different times where you put on different outlaw armors. Now, a reward for killing a criminal, a level 5 criminal, means that when you respawn in your heavy cube, you're going to end up having an ATT-4 energy rifle waiting for you. And that's really awesome because the thing looks like it's a lot of fun. I personally haven't gotten to use it, but I've seen videos of people using it, and it looks really awesome. Now, if you become wanted and you're like, hey, I want to right myself, I don't feel like the criminal path is my way, you can do that. If you basically just wait 10 minutes without committing a crime, you're going to end up having that level fall off. So if you're a level 4 criminal, it's going to take you 40 minutes of being a good person for that to fall off. But there's another option. And it's not a great option, but it is another option. It's nice, though, because it kind of brings in another piece of the gameplay. And that is you can go to Security Post Korea, and you can end up hacking a terminal, which is going to then lower your wanted level by 1. And that hack takes 1 minute to complete. Now, you can only really just do that one time there, and I haven't personally tried this yet. But one thing that could be potentially a pain is if anybody else starts the hack, it restarts your own. So you could just be sitting there like a sitting duck waiting for somebody to kill you, trying to hack the system, and somebody's going to make you wait longer. So there's 2 different ways that you can reduce your time. I guess 3 if you consider dying. Now, AI in this game is becoming a little bit more, I don't want to say team-oriented, but a little bit more cognizant of the status of people around them. So Crusader Security is going to spawn at live comm arrays. They're basically there to try and protect the array from going down. Pirates are going to then spawn at downed arrays when you go to try and actually fix it. They're trying to keep it down because that's no longer monitored space, meaning that they can commit their crimes without it being reported. Both are going to protect their environment, so if you're friendly and roll into a wanted area, or like the pirate's nest, they're going to engage you. Or likewise, if you roll into a live array as a criminal, Crusader's going to attack you. And that's actually how I ended up getting most of my, my criminal points, was by killing Crusader Security. And both of them, regardless, if you roll in and you're a criminal, but you decide to attack the pirates, they're going to turn on you. Or if you're a good person and you roll into a live array, Crusader Security is going to turn on you if you attack them. There's a little bit more intelligence there. And then, I guess, speaking of this hostility system, if you and another player are both just, not wanted and you're flying around, but you guys get into a fight, whoever started the fight is the one that becomes hostile. So there's no penalty for defending yourself. And with this stuff, I encourage you, go out and test this. This isn't persistent. It's not going to impact your reputation later on in the persistent universe. So see what it's like to become a criminal. Or if you're going to be a pirate, see what it's like to play the good guy, because you get more in the game right now. You have more ability to try different aspects, and that's really exciting. Outside of that, there are a few other changes, like matchmaking now is recognizing and trying to put parties together. And this is going to be something that's going to be really nice and helpful once we actually get this thing to live, because right now, even in our organization of over 1,000 people, we probably only have, like 20-something people that are actually in the PTU. So trying to get people into a party is going to be something that's much better once you actually get to the live version of this release. But what it's actually going to do is, if you're in a party before you start joining instances, it's going to keep your party size in mind and reserve those slots for 2 minutes to let everybody try and get in. And it's only going to try and put you in servers where you have enough room. So if you've got 5 people in a party, it's not going to try and shove you in a full server with only 1 or 2 spots. It's going to find a new instance where everybody could get in, and then it's going to reserve all the spots. So if you've got 5 people, it's going to hold 4 slots after that first person gets in there and give them 2 minutes to get in, which is awesome because nobody's having to play the click game real quick and hope to God you make it in. As far as other changes, EVA is different. It's now called physicalized EVA. It's funny. It's more natural and more clunky at the same time. There's something more intuitive about the way you move, but it's also harder to master your movements. And you'll notice when I'm floating around the comm arrays and stuff, I'm banging into stuff. It reacts better, but it's harder to control. And I know that sounds crazy, but once you try it, you may feel the same way. And then ships got some adjustments. There was a ton of fixes, and I'm not going to roll through all of those. You can check them out on the forums if you want to. Some balancing changes, but specifically in regards to speed. The ships that got faster combat mode, so SCM, was the Retaliator, the Gladius, the Freelancer, the Gladiator, the Warden, the Hornets, but not the Super Hornet, all Mustangs, the Glaive, Merlin, Scythe, M50, 350R. Ships that got a decreased SCM would be all of the Auroras, the Cutlass, all of the Avengers, the Super Hornet, 325, 315, 300. Now, there's some that ended up getting increased cruise speed. So the Aurora LN, CL, LX, 325, 315, 350R. So you're seeing there that the 325, the 315, and a couple of the Auroras ended up getting slower SCM, but faster cruise. So that may kind of be an indicator of how they're trying to balance how you need to play with these ships. Ships that got lower cruise speed, and these were very noticeable. The Constellation, the Freelancer, Gladius, the Auroras ES and MR, the Cutlass, Avengers, the Warden, the Hornets, Mustangs, Glaive, 300i, Merlin, Scythe, and M50. The Hornet is very noticeable. You go significantly slower in cruise mode now. But all of them are a significant change, and you're going to feel it when you actually get in. So kind of just mentally prepare for that. But I thought it was interesting to see that the whole 300 line, except for the 300i, got an increase in cruise speed, while the 300i got a decrease in cruise speed. You know, I'm assuming there's something there about the quality of components and being the lower level. You know, we kind of see that with the Auroras too. The LX and the LN are some of the more expensive ones, so they're going a little bit faster in cruise, where the ES and MR are lower priced and a little slower. So I think that's speaking to the quality of components. And speaking of components, we're starting to see those being implemented in the game. You're not just flying a ship now that just has hit points. The component system is in place, so we're going to start seeing more shields available, more coolers available, more power plants available. We're going to start getting all those individual parts, and all of them are going to perform in different ways and respond to damage in different ways, and we're seeing that real first iteration of that in this right now. So that was my fastest way of talking through everything that's actually changing in 2.2, because it's a lot, especially when you talk about just one upgrade or one patch. That is a lot to put in there, and they've made a ton of progress in the PTU. And we pumped through so many different PTU builds that I've actually missed several of them. So I played A, B, C, D, E. I missed F and G. I got in on H, played that for a little bit, got in on I. I mean, we're cranking through these, and there's a ton of hard work being done by QA, and I think you guys, when you get in, are going to be very pleased. Some releases have been more stable, some have been less. The one that's scheduled for tonight is supposed to actually disable Arena Commander and like Free Flight and stuff. It's basically going to force everybody into Crusader, and if that ends up being successful, I think that's going to be a nice stress test to indicate that we're either going to start moving towards live, or we're going to end up seeing more releases into the PTU. So what I mean is more invites to get into the PTU. So we're moving in the right direction. If you have questions about 2.2 or want to see anything, let me know. Otherwise, as always, I appreciate you guys watching. Stay tuned for a whole lot more soon, and I'll catch you guys later. Take care.